A new Netflix docuseries about Sean Diddy Combs is making headlines for its never-before-seen footage of the music mogul in the days before his arrest. Now, Combs is threatening legal action against the streamer for airing the unauthorized footage. Behind the series is Combs' longtime rap rival 50 Cent and director Alexandria Stapleton.
The distinction between justice and retaliation is no longer merely hazy, but has been completely destroyed. Sledgehammer, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, who recently launched a 4-part Netflix bomb called Sean Combs: The Reckoning, is the man wielding the hammer. Diddy's own private meltdown tapes, which were made only 6 days before to his arrest, are being used in what sources describe as a well-calculated character attack, rather than merely a documentary. This isn't conjecture. This video shows a guy disintegrating in real time, plotting with his legal staff, and begging someone who is engaged in the dirtiest of business to save him as his empire's walls fall apart. The most damaging aspect is that Diddy personally filmed every second of it.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day.
Perhaps.
What was he intending to use it for?
I have no idea what he was doing that for.
We are discussing a man who has built an image of impenetrable authority for decades, toasts of luxury, A-list entourages, and private aircraft, but his obsessive fixation with self-documentation turned into a noose around his neck. According to Netflix, the tapes acquired by The Reckoning's production team and legally confirmed depict Combs in a hotel room in Harlem, agitated and unkempt, yelling commands into the phone as his legal team tries to manage the repercussions from a torrent of accusations. At one point, he yells, "We're losing," with a rare flash of emotion in his voice. Someone who will collaborate with us and has experience in the most filthy aspects of propaganda and the media. It's a startling remark that implies Combs knew his battle for public relations was up before the first gavel was raised. And now that 50 Cent is involved, that video is more than just proof. It serves as the focal point of a primetime show. But let's be clear, this isn't simply the last-ditch panic of a fallen billionaire. This is the culmination of a 2-decade rivalry. Although 50 and Diddy's feud has always been personal, the stakes have never been greater. According to people close to the production, Jackson paid for this film rather than finding it by accident. He did this by using contacts in Combs' inner circle to obtain recordings that Diddy had supposedly intended to use for his own tell-all project. Ironically, Combs had been documenting his
on a documentary. I think a lot of people thought that he was just joking around. It turns out he's not. So this is actually a real project that's being made under his G-Unit movie.
This is when the narrative becomes even more convoluted, because even if Netflix maintains that this isn't a hit, Combs' legal The Crew is yelling otherwise, accusing the streamer of exploiting stolen content and sending stop and desist letters. They contend that the video, which includes talks with Combs' lawyers, was acquired through dubious methods and was never intended for public distribution. For their side, Netflix has stepped up, with director Alexandria Stapleton claiming they legitimately acquired the material and took steps to safeguard the identity of their source. However, let's not act as though this is only a legal issue. It has to do with optics. Additionally, the optics are terrible.
Get out in front of this and, try to persuade Netflix not to come forward with it. I think it's an interesting argument because what they're claiming is, Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent, has had a long-standing, animosity against Diddy and sort of vice versa. And because he's at the helm, they're arguing this can't be taken seriously. This should sort of be seen as propaganda. And one of the things that Netflix hit back with was, yes, he's the executive producer. He doesn't necessarily have creative control. And that's something we...
The familial aspect is also something we cannot overlook. Although Cole's twins and other family members have publicly supported him, even insiders say the documentary has shocked his close circle by showing solidarity by showing up to his trial. There are persistent but unverified rumors that his kids were clearly upset after seeing early portions of the movie, especially the parts that described his meltdowns before his imprisonment. Recall that these are the same children who only a few months prior made heartfelt pleas for forgiveness to the judge. They now have to make sense of how their father is portrayed in The Reckoning. A man who, based on the video, seemed more interested in fabricating the story than dealing with the fallout. Not to be overlooked is the release's timeliness. As fresh civil lawsuits continue to surface and the public's obsession with Combs' demise intensifies, his legal team is preparing an appeal. However, this is the unanswered question. Is 50 Cent truly helping the victims as he says he is? Or is this the pinnacle of self-retaliation? Although the two have never concealed their contempt for one another, the publication of the text has rekindled discussions on motivation. Jackson has openly declared that it would appear that hip-hop approved of Combs' purported actions if he remained silent. However, detractors cite a lengthy history of animosity. From Diddy's infamous remark about his buying spree at Chris Lighty's wedding, which 50 has described as a carefully veiled proposal, to the disclosure that Diddy was engaged with 50's ex-partner Daphne Joy.
Continued to engage in all these freak-offs with him, and he sounds really pissed off.
Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know, you think you silent treating me, and you think I'm going to be, nah, you'll have a rude awakening.
The legal ramifications are just becoming worse in the meanwhile. Combs' group has already alluded to more action against Netflix, claiming that using his private footage, particularly his talks with his attorneys, violates the attorney-client privilege. However, the streamer isn't giving up. They really presented the documentary as a necessary reckoning, an opportunity to reveal what they refer to as a decades-long pattern of behavior. Additionally, there is more proof than only the cassettes. According to reports, the show explores a wide range of topics, including the 1996 Shakur homicide allegations, in which former gang member Keffi D claims Combs offered $1 million bounty, and the testimonies of women like Joy Dickerson Neal, who claims she was exploited and secretly recorded in the early 1990s. The financial aspect is another. According to insiders, Combs was transferring millions of dollars abroad in the days preceding his detention. Is accurate, this information may come up again in his current RICO investigations. However, what The Reckoning depicts may not be its most terrifying feature. What it implies is still concealed, because what else may be out there if Coles was documenting everything, from his infamous private parties to his meetings with other well-known individuals who have since distanced themselves. The documentary alludes to a wealth of unpublished data. Furthermore, since 50 Cent is now credited with masterminding this attack, the question goes beyond what we're witnessing. It concerns what he has decided not to disclose, because there is still much to be done if this is a reckoning. The initial domino has fallen. The tapes have been released. The legal disputes are only getting more intense. Sean Combs is seeing his history unfold in real time, one explosive frame at a time, somewhere in a jail cell. Let's now reveal why the 50 Cent documentary seems more like a surgical strike than entertainment. Because people with knowledge of both sides maintain that this goes beyond just revealing the facts. It's about settling a score that is so deliberate and intimate that the breakdown tapes may as well be covered in fingerprints from the 1950s.
I think what Diddy was trying to say was, there's nothing to be done legally on the criminal front because no indictment had been dropped yet. But in the court of public opinion, it seemed like he wanted to take a more aggressive approach to put a certain message out there, and his attorney seemed to kind of think.
The pre-arrest tapes in which Combs is heard plotting with his attorney Mark Agnifilo regarding refuting the growing charges. He begs, his tone alternating between resistance and despair. We have to find somebody that'll work with us. Someone who deals in the dirtiest of dirty business must be involved. Netflix maintains that the video is legitimate, but Combs' team claims it was stolen, a privacy breach so serious that they are contemplating legal action. However, the issue remains. Why did Combs never obtain these tapes if they were intended for his own documentary? Was it conceit, thinking that no one would dare use them against him? Or was it something deeper, a conviction that he still had enough power to bury anything harmful? The irony is harsh in any case. With 50 Cent acting as the executive producer, the guy who built an empire on image management, suddenly sees his most vulnerable moments featured on Netflix. Then there's the cash, because this is about power and who gets to use it, not just about getting even. The video alludes to, but doesn't completely investigate the rumors that Combs was transferring assets abroad in the days leading up to his arrest. If accurate, it may be connected to the larger RICO probe that almost brought him to justice. Recall that although Cole was found not guilty of racketeering, the prosecution portrayed him as a kingpin who was surrounded by supporters who purportedly supported his way of life. According to reports, the documentary explores these financial strategies and raises the possibility that the tapes are only the top of the iceberg.
Likely what's going to happen, but now there's an added element to this, an added element of drama. Diddy is going to speak. He has some things he wants to say to the judge, to the court, and he has actually filed a request with the judge that he can wear street clothes instead of his prison jumpsuit because he wants to look good for whatever it is.
However, because the family is where the emotional combat becomes ugly, let's talk about it. Combs twins have been his favorite visible supporters, supporting him in court, making sincere remarks, and even sobbing when the decision was delivered. It's a potent picture. In their father's hour of greatest need, devoted kids came together to support him. However, detractors contend that it's also a well-planned public relations ploy that falls apart in the face of the charges. On the internet, the difference is striking. Here is Diddy, the devoted father, and there is Diddy, the man who has been accused of abusing women for decades and who was apparently captured on camera berating a former girlfriend. This contradiction is not avoided throughout the documentary, which humanizes him via family moments before switching to testimonials that provide an entirely different image. It's a purposeful decision that makes the viewer consider the same issue that the jurors did. How can the man in the hotel room begging for an escape be reconciled with the man in the courtroom? If that's insufficient, think about this twist. The baby mom drama is essential to the story and isn't merely background noise. Not just because of Daphne Joy's history with Combs, but also because of what it represents. The 50 Cent team apparently leaned heavily into the discoveries. According to several reports, this man used relationships as transactional instruments, blurring the boundaries between work and personal life. The monthly payments.
Same kind of extortion that we heard when Cassie took the stand and testified on that airplane ride back from France. Diddy said, "You don't do a freak off, I'm going to release one of the freak off videos that you are profiled in." And
the documentary's effects are already becoming more widespread. Misa Hilton, the mother of Combs' oldest child and his former partner's son, has apparently been approached by the same director of The Reckoning for her own tell-all flick. According to texts that media outlets were able to collect, Hilton is in discussions with filmmaker Alexandria Stapleton, who is ready to embrace what you have done for hip-hop and bad boy. Translation: the narrative is not finished. Given Hilton's complex past with Combs, her possible involvement might create a new front in this conflict. She made a quiet but impactful message when she arrived at his trial using a walker. Other former co-workers are apparently debating whether to come out, lured by the attention or the prospect of financial gain, because being silent in this situation is a liability rather than merely compliance. Then there's the Shakur aspect, a shocking revelation that the documentary not only touches on but also dwells on. The assertion made by former gang member Keffi D that Combs promised $1 million prize for Shakur's kill is not new, but it has additional significance in light of the tapes. It is shown in the documentary as a component of a wider pattern. A man who supposedly played both sides, shaped his world with money and power, and is now...
I don't know this, but it just seems very suspicious when you go through and you look at in the history of different people that can make you go away if you know. Listen, I've worried about some of the things that I talk about on my show.